Okay, so now that we've completed the rankings for the classic and hit era, it's time to look at the CGI songs. Now, when Thomas Fan 261 did his list, he counted the brief sing-alongs and any extended versions of the song as their own. Well, for my list, we're gonna do something totally different. My rules for this list consist of any song that has a CGI rendition from a pre-existing song, I'm not counting. So ones like Thomas's Anthem, That's What Friends Are For, Navigation, etc. will not be on the list. The brief sing-alongs, Away from the Sea, I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside, Down by the Docks, and Enda Ulale will also not be counted because I don't consider these to be official songs. What I like to call the extended versions of previous songs, and there were quite a few, I'm also not going to be counting as their own song. These include the Season 16 remake of Go Go Thomas, Working Together Again, The Shooting Star Is Coming Through, He's Full of Surprises, Be Who You Are and Go Far, the Big World Big Adventures theme, and the New Engine Roll Call do not qualify as their own song. They are mere extensions with different lyrics to their already pre-existing songs, so if anything, I'm going to count these as if they're part of the song they come from as a whole. However, in that regard to renditions and different lyrics, the Adventure Begins versions of Really Useful Engine and Troublesome Trucks are just slightly different to where I will qualify them. Any Christmas song done with CGI Thomas footage does not qualify either. Album exclusives will not be counted. And I do know that there are these really weird music videos that only use Adventure Begins footage, and after listening to about 2 of these, yeah, don't expect these to be on here. They sound like utter shit. Okay, I think that just about covers all the rules, so we're going to be looking at the remaining 58. And I'm going to try and do these all in a rapid fire because I, as well as you all, don't want to be here forever. Bearing in mind this is entirely based on my opinion, so don't take what I say super personal. Starting with the absolute worst songs, number 58, Glenn's Christmas Wish. I don't even know how the fuck you can count this as an actual song. I don't find this the least bit interesting because I don't care for the Christmas Coffee Pot episode. You know, songs that recap episodes are supposed to sound good, and this one did not do its fair share. Number 57, Misty Island Rescue. I already don't like the movie to begin with, and this song did it absolutely no justice. I hate the fact that they made a stereotypical hillbilly country-sounding song in Thomas. And this is coming from a country music fan herself, but this is an absolute disgrace. Number 56, Let's Be Brave. Yeah, no shocker why this would be at the bottom of the barrel. It totally ruins the ending to Tale of the Brave. They could have saved this as maybe a bonus song and put our Tale of the Brave at the end, but nope, they just had to ruin it. Should also say something that whenever my brother would have this on repeat, I wanted to punch a hole through the wall. That's how aggravating this song is. Number 55, The Steam Team. I didn't remember what this one sounded like until hearing it again recently, and oh my god is it bad. I already don't like the idea of the Steam Team going back to the hit era, and this just made it a lot worse. Hey Mattel, take a hint. Enough with shoving your Steam Team into everyone's faces, alright? No one gives a fuck. Number 54, The Sodor Construction Crew. Well, you heard me say before that I don't care for the pack, and now I really don't care about them, especially when our newbies are shoved in. This song is so bad, it sounds like it came out of that crappy Bob the Builder reboot. Is it bad that I prefer the Model Pack songs to this piece of crap, even though I don't care about those either? Number 53, Legend of the Lost Engine. What else is there really for me to say other than this comes from one of the worst two-parter specials in the history of Thomas? It should really say something when I was super excited to see Lorenzo, but episodes later proved he is an absolute scumbag, which sucks because I really wanted to like him. Need I say more? Number 52, How Does It Work? Again, coming from another terrible two-parter. They didn't even need to make this into a song. Ruth speaks throughout most of the song anyways. They could have easily taken her parts and made these into bonus learning segments or something. Or is Mattel just that lazy? Yeah, let's go with that. Number 51, All the Girls Around the World. Oh, too little too late with this one. Mattel really hyped up Nia and Rebecca because of the gender equality crap, and they only did very little with them, if not a little more with Nia and very little with Rebecca, who, might I add, had no character development. Meanwhile, all the other female characters are just sitting there in the background with very little to no focus. So now, you want to acknowledge every single female that's been in the show but still continue to do very little or nothing with them? Yeah,
Go fuck yourself.
Number 50, The Journey Never Ends. When the Big Real Big Adventure series started airing in the US, this was constantly playing in between intermissions. And for anyone who knew me at that point, because I had to listen to this song at least 2 times an airing, it pissed me off to no end. I grew tired of this song very quickly. I do appreciate some aspects of Big World, but there are some that I really don't want to be tied into. I cannot stand this song for what it's worth, and I refuse to listen to it ever again. So that covers all of the bad songs. Let's move on to the mediocre ones. Number 49, Let's Go. Very generic sounding. Seriously, what the actual fuck happens in this one? 10 seconds in and I was already bored. Number 48, Who's Thomas? The only reason why this song exists is just to promote Beresford for an extra pointless 10 minutes of Journey Beyond Sodor. While I understand that some people consider this bad, for me personally, it's not the worst one I've heard. I can endure it even though it is completely pointless. And the other reason why I'm not putting it any lower is because JBS was the last movie I watched with my grandmother before she died, and I have very fond memories of her getting a kick out of the dancing trucks, so it's going no lower than this. Number 47, There's No Place Like Home. Even when this was first released, I didn't care for it all that much, mostly because I was jamming more to It's Christmas Time by that point. I feel like out of all the winter-themed songs they've made, this is definitely one of the weakest, right next to Winter Wonderland. Number 46, On a Journey Today. Season 17 doesn't really stick out to me as that great of a season, and this song is just way too boring for my personal liking. I really don't know what else to say about this one other than, yeah, it's boring. Number 45, Set Friendship in Motion. This one was okay in the beginning, but as time went on, I started to not really like it as much. The fact that Mattel even reused it for their Big World Big Adventures theme, yeah, you guys just ruined it even more. Did they really have to be this lazy? Number 44, Hey Hey Thomas. Once again, another from Season 17 that does absolutely nothing for me. However, if I was going to pick which one I'd rather listen to, probably this one. Number 43, Somebody Has to Be the Favorite. This, I would say, is the second of weakest songs from Journey Beyond Sodor. There's nothing really stand out about it. All it really is just a bragging song done by James, and by extension, when Thomas sings his version when he takes James's trucks to the mainland. Can I sit through it? Yeah, sure, but it's not one of the greatest songs out there. Number 42, Race With You. A lot more quicker paced than some previous ones, but still nothing to brag about. This could have been on the same level with maybe Let's Have a Race if the effort was put into it, but instead we got another generic sounding song that explains that racing can be fun and that friendship will always win, especially on Team Thomas.
Ugh, gag.
That's it for the mediocre ones, so let's move on to the okay songs, and there are a lot. Number 41, Engine Roll Call. The newer version of this from Season 19 is probably the best way to listen to this song. The snappier sounding beat just really fits this era. But I will not ever listen to the Season 22 version as it totally messed up the pacing and it sounds awful. I just don't like the fact that Nia and Rebecca are now in this version because their placement just feels all kinds of wrong. So completely ignore this one and focus on the more superior version. Number 40, Fall is So Much Fun. For an autumn-themed song, it's actually not that terrible. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really sound like a Thomas song, it sounds more like an album exclusive if anything, but either way, I didn't really think it was that bad. Number 39, Really Useful Engine from The Adventure Begins. When The Adventure Begins first released in the US, and I heard this rendition of the song for the first time, like many other fans, I was overly ecstatic as it brought back so many memories when I first heard this song from the classic series. But again, as time passed, I started to not become a fan of the slower pacing. One thing I won't deny is that I like when it plays for the finale as it wraps up the whole movie, and to see the Railway series edits at the end is pretty cool. I definitely would not call it bad by any means, but I do feel like the classic series version is a bit better, and let's not kid ourselves, the superior version is the Magic Railroad version. Number 38, New Year's Day with Thomas. Honestly, I had no idea this song was even a thing, and I really wasn't expecting anything overly amazing, but when I actually listened to it, it's not good, but I wouldn't call it bad either, if that makes sense. It's just fine for whatever it is. Number 37, Party Train. I remember when this one first came out too, and I actually kinda liked it. It's nothing spectacular by any means, but I can see that they were trying to make another fun-sounding song, but if I had to pick the better fun party song, it would be Party Time from the hit era. Number 36, Let's Dream. Oh, I can already tell this is gonna be a controversial pick, but is it bad if I say that I actually kinda like this one? I totally understand that the dream sequences are by far the worst thing about the Big World episodes, but on their own, no matter how ridiculous most of them are, it ironically works in the song's favor, if that makes any sense. Feel free to disagree with me on this one, but I personally don't mind it. Number 35, Spring is Here. I don't mind this one that much either. I think it's cute when they describe what happens on the island during springtime. Some people may not care for this song, and that's perfectly fine. But hey, I'm gonna say this. I much prefer this one over the fall song. That probably does or doesn't say very much. Number 34, It's Gonna Be a Great Day. This is but one of the few songs that I don't particularly care for from King of the Railway. I don't know what it particularly is about this one, but it never really stuck with me all that much. I just couldn't find anything interesting about this song in general that I liked. Now, the original version, if I have this correct, had the song been sung in this particular key,
chugga chugga click clack, rolling down the track, the fun just never ends. Something big is on the way for Thomas and his friends.
then maybe I would have put it higher up on the list. But where it stands currently, it's okay, but not one that I go back to often. Number 33, All You Need. While I do think this song sounds a bit preach-sappy sounding, I don't necessarily think that makes it all bad. I wouldn't call it a marvel if anything, as there are other Nitrogen era songs that are much better than this one, but it's fine, I like it. Number 32, The Little Engine Who Believed. This was yet another I knew nothing about until recently, and I actually kinda like this one too. I like the fact that it's telling a story within the lyrics, and it definitely has a hint of creativity put into it for an original Thomas Christmas song. It's cute. What else do you really want me to say? Number 31, the Fat Controller song. This might actually sound bad to some people, but is it wrong for me to say that I like this one over the original? While I have stated that the classic series version does nothing for me personally, I like that this one sounds a bit more bouncy and jazzy. It's one that I can actually groove along with, while the original is... yeah. Number 30, Thomas and Percy. I was never the biggest fan of this one back in the day, but in the last couple of years, this song has really grown on me. I still don't like the fact that they had to shoehorn in the Steam Team concept, and if there's any way I'm gonna listen to it, it's gotta be my version. Oh, you know which one I'm referring to.
Thomas and Percy, best friends you see. Thomas and Percy, best friends you see. Thomas and Percy, blue and green, best of friends that you ever see. Thomas and Percy, blue and green, best of friends that you ever see. Thomas and Percy, blue and green, best of friends that you ever seen.
And now we have reached the good ones. Number 29, Monsters Everywhere. When this song was first leaked out on YouTube years ago, it was addicting to the point where after I showed it to my brother, we were constantly singing this song. Visuals are great and the singing in this one is on point. I would say that this is probably my second favorite of the spooky Thomas songs, right next to It's Halloween. Number 28, Where in the World is Thomas? Now I know this one is a controversial pick, but I don't think this one is that bad either. I like that it makes these little nods to previous Thomas movies, bad or good. One thing I will point out is the US dub of this song utterly sucks. It feels like they're just off by a millisecond, while the UK dub is on freaking point. Again, mind you, few little gripes here and there, but I really don't think it's that bad of a song. Number 27, We Can't Do Anything. When this movie first released, originally I didn't care for this one. I've heard some people say it's just a conversation song, and while I do get that, if I'm gonna be honest, after I listen to this again after so long, it's kind of a mood to be honest. This is coming from someone who struggles with her own low self-esteem and confidence issues on a regular basis, so I actually kind of relate to a lot of these characters. And while Merlin's part does feel a bit unnecessary to squeeze in for a 30-second pause, it still gets a small chuckle out of me because I really like Merlin as a character. I wouldn't call it one of the best songs from Journey Beyond Sodor, but I still think it's a pretty good song. Number 26, Hear the Engines Coming. This one may come off as a bit average sounding, and once again, I don't like that they shoehorned in the Steam team, but a few saving graces for me are the visuals chosen, the acapella in the beginning, and even the chorus. It's just an overall fun song about the engines. What more could you want? Number 25, Our Tale of the Brave. We have yet another wholesome one, and I love that this is paired up with Percy and Gator. It really adds to the emotion given its placement in the film, and I really enjoyed the singing in this one. And my god, visual-wise, it's stunning. An overall beautiful song in my book. Number 24, Never Overlook a Little Engine. Again, this one is actually kind of wholesome. I love the fact that they gave the Arlesdale Trio their own song, even for their first debut. I do see the message that it tries to push, that even the little guys are capable of the biggest things. It's just an overall good song. Number 23, Don't Stop. I don't remember anything about Steam Team to the Rescue other than this song. The whole crew actually sound really good in both the US and UK dubs. In the beginning, it does start off as an actual bop, although when they sing this again at the dock scene, it starts to sound really sappy. So, if anything, I just like the beginning part. Number 22, I'm Full of Surprises. Yes, while the subplot in The Great Race is all kinds of confusing, this is still quite a catchy song. It most certainly feels like the type of song Diesel would sing about, and visually speaking, the song is pretty funny. The ending version, however, is also pretty unique as it has Andrew Brenner, Ian McHugh, etc., singing in the end credits. Not gonna lie, but they actually sound really good. This had to have been the standout song for the crew because you can tell that these guys are just having fun with it. I would have loved to see behind the scenes of all these guys just having fun singing the song. That would have been so cool. Number 21, The Best Friends Express. It's been a hot minute since I've heard this one, and I still think it's pretty good after not listening to it for a few years. Maybe some of the lyrics do come off as a bit corny, but I can easily look past it as I'm usually too busy jamming to the instrumental anyways. Some people may or may not agree with me, but hey, I still enjoy it. That's all that really matters. Number 20, Roll Along. We got us again, an instant bop, even for Nitrogen era standards. Once again, love the singing in this one, and I think the clips chosen were a good way to sum up the lyrics. For one of the first CGI Thomas songs, it's pretty friggin' good. Number 19, We Make a Team Together. You know, on its own, this might be yet another sappy sounding song, but its placement in the film I think really helps to amp it up a notch. When Thomas helps Sailor John and Skiff look for the treasure, he feels like he's helping out his friends, not realizing the real intentions, and I do think it's a very clever way of disguising a villain's character in a song. However, towards the end, it very much feels like a grand finale wrap-up to the whole movie. The lyrics don't come off as cheesy, and it's so rewarding to know that Thomas definitely learned his lesson by the end. Definitely a gem of the Brenner era. Number 18, It's Halloween. Not gonna lie, I think out of the spooky-related songs we've had throughout the show, this one's gotta be my favorite. And again, some people may think differently and say Boo Boo Choo Choo might be the best, given it's from the classic series, but there's something about this one that really puts me in the Halloween mood, if you get what I mean. Number 17, Working Together. An instant bop right in the beginning of Blue Mountain Mystery. Just seeing the narrow gauge engines and Thomas working together in the quarry is so freaking surreal to me. And even the usage of the clanging and banging of the trucks and whatnot is a very cleverly unique touch to the song. Also, in regard to this, I don't necessarily care for the King of the Railway version with the slight alternate lyrics. I think the original is so much better. Number 16, Searching Everywhere. Once again, I must point out that I am not exactly the biggest fan of King of the Railway, but I feel like not a lot of people give this song the amount of credit it's due. It's the only song throughout the whole film that I actually really like. Watching these montages of engines and other characters puffing around the island to look for Steven is actually quite fun. By far my favorite part about this song is the stellar sounding chorus. I could listen to that on loop for hours. Number 15, Wake Up. What can I really say about this one other than this was probably the one song I never cared for originally when Big World first came out. Starting to really notice a pattern here with certain songs. But anyways, I've had a complete change of heart with it in the last year or so. No doubt that Nia's voice actress completely steals the show here, but May and Hasler also sound pretty good here too. It's a good song overall, but not one that I would listen to on repeat compared to some other choices. Number 14, We're Friends. I think above every other generic sounding Thomas song we've had throughout the course of the show, this one, title, lyrics and all, has got to be the most basically generic and corny sounding of them all. But if you put all of that to the side for just a hot minute, the song itself is actually quite catchy. Its strong point is how it's carried by Nia's incredible singing again, and even stronger with her and John Hasler in the reprise. I feel like this and probably Wake Up are going to be two big controversial picks here in the top 20, and hey, you know what? To each their own with these. Number 13, The Most Important Thing is Being Friends. Okay, while this song does sound very corny, and it's a very cheesy way to end off Journey Beyond Sodor, I can't help but feel happy with it. Knowing that this was the closure to the Brenner era before death came knocking on everyone's doors is a very bittersweet feeling. Do I agree with so many other fans that Frankie and Hurricane should have been reprimanded for their actions? Hell yes. But then again, this is also being written by a company that half-assed a lot of shit in this show, so just keep that in mind. Number 12, It's Christmas Time. Maybe for some fans, this one might sound a bit generically plain for a Thomas Christmas song, but for me, it's one of the many songs that I just have to listen to when Christmas comes around. It's one of those that absolutely gets me in a festive type of mood. My definitive way of actually listening to this song is right off the It's Christmas Time album, because I just simply love the extended track. And shout out to ThomasFan261, don't worry buddy, you're not alone. I really like this song too. Just missing out of the top 10 at number 11 is Will You Won't You. This one, again, might also be a controversial pick for some people, but this one actually slaps in my opinion. Personally, I think it's pretty cool to see these montages of engines just singing harmoniously about the Great Railway Show. And you know what? You can say whatever you want about the movie itself, but the songs are really good. And now for the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Blue Mountain Mystery. This song is so genuinely heartwarming. I love that it's telling a story within the lyrics, basically recapping the events of what we just saw in the movie, and it's done so well. The flute parts of the instrumental are so beautiful to listen to, and of course the men in the chorus are at an all-time high. However, I think my favorite thing about this song is how it greatly describes how much Thomas and Luke care for each other as friends, and how Thomas pretty much risked everything to help him. That is true dedication in my eyes, and I so wish we saw them paired up more in the series. It's a wonderful finale to, hands down, the best Nitrogen Thomas movie. Number 9, You Can Only Be You. Here we have one of the few emotional picks for a Thomas song. I know some people have argued that they don't like The Great Race as a whole, and this is yet another movie where Thomas is a complete asshole to a newbie, but if you put those gripes to the side, that doesn't make this a bad song. In fact, just like We Can't Do Anything, this song is a fucking mood and a half. For a Thomas song, the message hits really deep in the feels. Remember how I said We Can't hits me personally because of my low self-esteem and confidence issues? Well, when Thomas sings about his struggles, not gonna lie, that is also me, because there are some days where I really don't like myself and would love to start over from scratch. So this song really speaks to me on a personal level, and I'm sure there are many of us that have felt this way too. And one last thing to note is, while Joseph and John are really great here, let's be honest, Tina Desai steals the whole show. That woman can sing! Number 8, Go Go Thomas. This was the first CGI song I ever heard from the Nitrogen era. After its debut in Hero of the Rails, I was immediately hooked on it. It's definitely a rewarding feeling knowing that Thomas and the others saved Hero, but if anything, I kind of prefer the Season 16 version. Maybe it's the alternate lyrics that grab me a bit more, I'm not exactly sure. Either way though, I love both versions. There's really nothing negative you can say about it. Number 7, Sometimes You Make a Friend. I get the feeling that this might also be yet another controversial placement. Some fans might call it unjustifiable for Thomas to have instant remorse for his actions against Nia, but then again, for me personally, I do see that he is sorry for not only treating Nia as poorly as he did, but also realizing that Ace was a terrible influence on him throughout the course of the film. Does it excuse the fact that Thomas is without a doubt unlikable in this movie? Well, no, not at all, because he's a complete jerk. But character-wise aside, the song is actually really sweet. Joseph May and John Hasler, once again, sound amazing in this song. I definitely feel like this deserves to be in the top 10. Number 6, Troublesome Trucks from The Adventure Begins. I stated all the way back in my classic song ranking that while I do like the original, I much prefer this version. No surprise, but where it's placed in the movie is one of my favorite parts. Duly noted that it's an entirely action-packed scene, and there's just something that really tickles my fancy watching a CGI adaptation of Thomas and the Trucks play out with a revamped classic series song. The gentleman singing in this is what I think really carries the song forward, and the kids aren't half bad either. It doesn't get any better than this. Number 5, Free and Easy. Well, let me just say that Peter Andre undoubtedly nails this song. His singing is phenomenal. When this song was leaked everywhere during the release of the movie, it was an instant eargasm. I couldn't stop listening to it for days, it was that good. While almost every fan agrees that Big World Big Adventures didn't really work out in the end, there's no question that this is one of the best songs from the film, good or bad, however you want to look at it. Number 4, Day of the Diesels. No shocker that this would be super high up on the list. For very good reasons, I might add. Yes, while Day of the Diesels is one of the worst movies in Thomas history, the song itself does pay a respectable tribute to it. Of course, we have in the shoehorn Steam Team lyrics, but you know something? This song is just too much of a bop to get pissed off at such a minuscule detail. The chorus throughout is an absolute headbanger, and I really like the extended part when they talk about repairing the diesel works. This is truly one of the many gems to come out of the Nitrogen era. Number 3, Streamlining. Once again, this song is a freaking bop amongst all the others of The Great Race. I remember a snippet being shown of Thomas singing before the movie was released, so of course when I found this out, I geeked the fuck out. It's the first time we hear Joseph May singing in the US dub, and you all know how much of a sucker I am for him, and honestly for the first time, he was pretty good. And hey, I'm not counting Hasler out because he's right up there with his UK dub, so that's also a plus. I will say though that Gordon's rendition of the song really doesn't interest me all that much. I know it's there to fit in plot-wise, but I prefer Thomas's version. Number 2, I Wanna Go Home. Man, this one hits me in the feels big time. Not only is it super emotional for a Thomas song, but it's also, once again, a bittersweet feeling, knowing that this was the last good thing that came out of the Brenner era. Both Joseph May and John Hasler killed their performances in this song, and it should really say something when I think Joseph May was at his peak performance in this special. I just want to know why he wasn't as good in some songs in Big World. And the number 1 best CGI Thomas song is The Hottest Place in Town. Some of you might be shocked, some of you might not be, but this song is a fucking bop all the way through. Out of every single CGI Thomas song that's out there, this is the one for me that I constantly listen to on repeat. The visuals are just stunningly amazing to look at, and Frankie and Hurricane's voice actors sound amazing. And let's not forget, Joseph May and John Hasler are once again top-notch here. I know I've already stated this, but I really do feel like Joseph May killed his performance in this whole movie. And John Hasler, he's just good no matter what the hell he's in. For a very catchy and well-disguised villainess kind of song, it's by far one of the best things to come out of Journey Beyond Sodor, and I feel like it totally deserves to be in the top spot. And there you have it. That is my list for all of the CGI Thomas songs. What are some of your guys' favorites? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your picks. Now, before we end off this video, there's just one more question that needs to be answered. Because we have my favorites for the classic, hit, and now CGI era, which song is my favorite overall? Well, you will find that out in a future video. But until then, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.